Welcome to Standard Voice News Channel. I am Samira Ibrahim. Here are your top stories for today. The police in Zamfara has confirmed the murder of a medical doctor who was killed at his residence in Mariri area of Gusau. Northern elders and PDP blast Buhari over insecurity in the country. COVID-19 figures rises to 16,085 in Nigeria with 403 new cases. On business, diaspora remittances market liberalization bankers. And on the international scene, Indian passenger dies on board evacuation flight from Lagos. Now the news in details. Dr. Opara, a consultant obstetric gynecologist working at the Federal Medical Center Gusau, was found dead and his remains burnt almost beyond recognition on Saturday. The police public relations officer in the state, CP Shehu Mohammed, told journalists in Gusau on Sunday that they received the sad report of the gruesome murder of a medical doctor, Dr. Enoch Opara, on Saturday afternoon. Due to the terrible nature of the killing, the Commissioner of Police, CP Usman Nagoku, ordered for immediate commencement of investigation into the matter with a view of fishing out the culprits and bringing them to book. None gathered that Dr. Opara, a very quiet gentleman, as described by his colleagues, was first discovered missing when he did not show up at his church on Saturday morning, which was unusual of him. The church was said to have contacted some of the doctors who tried his GSM number, which rang without response, and thereby raising the alarm that something had gone wrong. It was further revealed that when the colleagues checked on the house where the deceased lived alone, as his family was not in Zamfara, they saw his vehicle inside and so drew the attention of the police to check in. His roasted body was discovered in the courtyard, while bloodstains were seen on the walls of the room, as stated by one of the doctors who preferred anonymity. Also, when contacted, the vice chairman of the state chapter of the Nigerian Medical Association, Dr. Manner Bature, confirmed the incident, saying the association could meet and come up with a press release later in the evening. Northern elders and opposition People's Democratic Party (PDP) on Sunday came hard on the President Muhammadu Buhari-led government over rising insecurity in many parts of the country, especially the north. While the elders, under the aegis of Northern Elders Forum (NEF), said their region had been pushed to the wall, the PDP said the inability of the Buhari government to contain the killings across the nation was unacceptable. The Professor Ango Abdullah-led group lamented that the people were now at the mercy of armed gangs who roamed their towns and villages at will, wreaking havoc. It said in a statement that Buhari administration and governors of the region had woefully failed in the provision of security and welfare for the people. The group enjoined the federal government and northern governors to note that it is now time to say enough is enough. The statement, which was signed by Professor Ango Abdullah, said Northern Elders Forum were alarmed at the rising insecurity of communities and their properties in the north. It said recent escalation of attacks by bandits, rustlers and insurgents led the only conclusion that the people of the north are now completely at the mercy of armed gangs who roam their towns and villages at will, wreaking havoc. It will appear that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari and governors have lost control over the imperatives of protecting people of the north, a constitutional duty they swore to uphold. The situation is getting worse literally by the day. Bandits and insurgents appear to sense a huge vacuum in political will and capacity, which they exploit with disastrous consequences on communities and individuals. It is no exaggeration to say that the people of the north have never experienced this level of exposure to criminals who attack, kill, maim, rape, kidnap, burn villages and rustle cattle, while President Buhari issues threats and promises that have no effect. Meanwhile, the presidency has taken a swipe at the Northern Elders Forum over its comments on the nation's security challenges. In a statement on Sunday, the president's special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, accused the group of being political in its activities. The group had said that the insecurity in some northern states of the country was an indication that President Muhammadu Buhari and the governors of those states have lost control over the protection of the people. It added in a statement by its coordinator, Professor Ango Abdullahi, that President Buhari's government has failed its fight against bandit and Boko Haram insurgents. According to the Nigerian Elders Forum, the people of the north are now completely at the mercy of armed gangs who wreak havoc at will in towns and villages as a result of the recent escalation of attacks by bandits, rustlers, and insurgents. In his response, Adesina believes the statement by the group is not strange, and the presidency's position on what the group represents remains unchanged. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukul Buratai, has asked troops of the Operation Lafiya Dole in Mungunu, Borno State, to be resolute and firm in fighting the Boko Haram terrorists in the northeast. General Buratai's charge comes a day after the terrorists attacked the town, thus forcing internally displaced persons IDPs to scamper for safety. Following the simultaneous attack on Ganze and Gubio local government areas of the state, security forces reportedly engaged the fighters in a gun battle. Reacting to the attack by the agency's director, Army Public Relations Colonel Sadiq Musa, the Army Chief charged the commander, OPLD, to consistently engage the massive offensive patrols to all identified terrorist locations and escalate within the theater to ensure the terrorists are denied freedom of action and eliminated. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, on Sunday night announced 403 new cases of coronavirus in the country. In a tweet released by the body, Gombe State took the ascendancy with 73 new cases, while Lagos State came second with 68 new cases. Kano State was third with 46 new cases. Edo State had 36 new cases, with the Federal Capital Territory FCT recording 35 new cases. Nasarawa State recorded 31 cases, with Abia State having 15 new cases. The tweet further revealed that Delta and Borno State had 13 new cases each, with Plateau State recording 8 cases. Niger and Rivers State had 7 new cases each, with Enugu and Ogun State recording 6 cases. Kebbi State had 3 cases, and Ondo, Anambra and Imo State had 1 new case each. So far, the total number of coronavirus cases in Nigeria stand at 16,085, with 5,220 persons discharged and 420 deaths recorded. The Coalition of Nasarawa State Health Workers says 66 health workers, including 6 medical doctors, have died as a result of COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking to reporters on Sunday in Lafiya while declaring a 7-day total warning strike, the coalition spokesman and chairman of the Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, Dr. Peter Bolos, said the state government had neglected the health sector, a situation that allegedly led to the death of 26 health workers due to COVID-19. He said the death of the health workers was as a result of inadequate provision of personal protective equipment, PPEs, to health personnel across the state and local government facilities. The union demanded for implementation of promotions, payment of annual increment, as well as implementation of the minimum wage. Members of the House of Representatives have called on the federal government to reconsider its earlier decision barring the Standard Organization of Nigeria, SON, and the National Agency for Food, Drugs Administration and Control, NAFDAC, from operating at the nation's seaports. The lower chamber maintained that the 2 key agencies are needed at the seaports and borders to fight the influx of substandard and life-endangering goods into the country, especially amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The lawmakers said the call has become important as the federal government strategized to kickstart the nation's economy post-COVID-19 pandemic. Adopting a motion under matters of urgent public importance raised at the plenary session, the House stated that allowing SON and NAFDAC back to the port will represent part of strategies to effectively check the influx of substandard goods into the country. Governor Obaseki of Edo State was last week disqualified from bidding for his party, the All Progressives Congress APC ticket. Expatiating on reasons for Obaseki's disqualification while submitting its reports. The party's screening appeal committee chairman, Dr. Abubakar Fari, at the weekend said in the affidavit sworn by Godwin Obaseki before the High Court Abuja, he stated under oath that he graduated from the University of Ibadan with a BA degree in classical studies in 1976. However, the university certificate he attached to his nomination form bears 1979, which is a material contradiction. The committee also said it found it hard to believe Obaseki gained admission to study at the university with 3 credits without a proper A-level or a diploma. It added that the governor was in possession of 2 separate voter cards, which is illegal. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, Princess Adewunmi has debunked online and social media reports that 23 billion naira was missing from the office of the agency. The money was allegedly traced to the personal account of a former worker of the office. A statement by the head of communication, Janet McDixon, said the reports contain mischievous publications. Therefore, OSAP SDGs wishes to categorically state that there is no 23 billion naira missing in the office. Indeed, appropriated and released funds to the office were judiciously utilized in the discharge of its mandates. On business, over to Fauzia Ibrahim.
Hello there, welcome to Standard Voice Television Business Update. Capital inflows of the economy through diaspora remittance from Nigerians living abroad stood at $25 billion in 2019. But the World Bank has predicted 20% dip this year as the impact of coronavirus pandemic on people's income weighs in. Analysts predict earnings will improve by liberalizing channels for diaspora remittance collections and making 5,000 Central Bank of Nigeria licensed Bureau de Change BDC operators agents rights. Crude oil has for decades been the mainstay of Nigeria's economy. That is what the majority of Nigerians know, but only a few people are aware that Nigeria earns more dollars from diaspora remittance than it earns from crude oil sales. However, signals from remittance markets are no longer looking fabulous. World Bank has predicted that the huge dollar inflows from Nigerians living abroad will drop by 20% this year, as senders face income crunch due to coronavirus pandemic. The Nigeria's National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) inflow in 2019 was about $15 billion, while migrant remittance stood at $25 billion, adding the country's gross domestic product (GDP). However, the World Bank predictions means there was a need to attract more remittance in the economy by increasing the channels through which the funds come in. World Bank Group President David Malpass said remittances are a vital source of income for developing countries. The ongoing economic recession caused by COVID-19 is taking a severe toll on the ability to send money home and make it all the more vital that we shorten the time to recovery for advanced economies. He explained that remittances help families afford food, healthcare, and basic needs. And that's all on the business update. I'm Fauzia Ibrahim. Have a nice day.
And on the international scene, a 42-year-old passenger on board an Air Indian flight from Lagos to Mumbai at the weekend died under unusual circumstances. The development has raised several questions on the checks and terminal screening being conducted at airports amid the coronavirus pandemic. Sources hinted that the passenger was seen shivering inside the flight. When inquired, the passenger had informed the Air India crew that he had malaria. Sources said the crew of the flight had also provided him oxygen as he was finding it difficult to breathe. The passenger, however, collapsed and died on board the flight. It was learned that the passenger bled from his mouth. The flight landed at the Mumbai airport at 3:40 a.m. Questions are now being raised at the airport checks on how the passenger with fever was allowed to board the flight. Air India has, however, said that the passenger died of natural causes. Still on the international scene, China reported dozens of new coronavirus cases for the second consecutive day on Monday as a growing cluster of infections stoked fears of a second wave, while more borders were opened in Europe ahead of the summer holiday session. Streams of people queued in the stadium as mass testing was carried out in Beijing, the capital of the country where the disease emerged late last year. The pandemic is gathering pace in Latin America. Iran and India have reported worrying increases in deaths and infections, adding to concern over challenges the world will face in the long fight against COVID-19. But for the moment, news has been better in Europe, which has mostly seen caseloads fall steadily in recent weeks. Many countries are further lifting painful lockdowns that have saved lives but have also devastated economies and worried confined populations. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. The police in Zamfara has confirmed the murder of a medical doctor who was killed at his residence in Mariri area of Kusau. Northern elders and PDP blast Buhari over insecurity in the country. COVID-19 figures rises to 16,085 in Nigeria with 403 new cases. On business, diaspora remittances market liberalization bankers. And on the international scene, Indian passenger dies on board evacuation flight from Lagos. That's the news. On behalf of the production crew, Head of News and Current Affairs Department, Ibrahim Garbatunau, I am Samira Ibrahim, wishing you a pleasant day. Keep watching Standard Voice Television News. Goodbye.